Title III.
I'd like to say in response to the IT, it is a beginning that they are working on a lot of proof that there is a large element, like any other area of sensory integration. One thing alone does not cure, but if it takes off one layer of it, I'm certainly excited to hear about it coming, because it's got some good results. I know one of the kids I've worked with that was extremely auditory defensive coming in, that had almost no other issues. You know, a bathroom fan would just set him running, the fan on the water fountain would set him running, and one time I finally brought in some trumpet concertos and Mozart and had him on a headphone, and he listened about 10 minutes while we were doing other sensory techniques, and then he decided he had had enough. And the next day he comes, or the next week he came in and he said, "I want that music in my hair." But after that he didn't want it anymore, but he has, I think it was within a couple more visits that he said, "I'm going to go in that bathroom." And I said, "Okay, now Dad's got the fan going." And he said, "I'm going to look in that mirror and I'm going to say, now what are you so afraid of?" And he's gone in there and had no problem since. He's like, "Okay, I'm good with this." So these kids are incredible, you know.
Yeah, Doreen Davis was suggesting between training, they actually listen to music, Mozart music and stuff.
Yeah,
Most of it's modulated Mozart music anyway.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of it is very based on Mozart because it's got that beat, the metronome beat. That's why we do, you know, the alphabet song and so many of the other basic songs, because it's got a beat that's calming to the kids, that takes away a layer of that sensory defensiveness, and it's incredible to watch the difference. Just if you get some compression, you know, like if the kids are swinging and I'll have them crash into me and I give them a hug and then send them flying, and you'll see the kids really settling, and then as you're singing to them, and then they take them to another level, you know, until they're either more alert and ready to play or less on edge and ready to play. Either way, that's, you know, we're working for that middle line for all the kids that we work with. And so that basically leads into what I wanted to talk about. Most of y'all know that I'm one of the many occupational therapists with physical therapy services, and one of the few pediatric clinics here in town. And I have a great time with the kids. Most of mine is based in play, because that's how a kid learns. That's what their occupation is. So the kids, the best compliment they have is when they call it the play place, or, you know, we're going to the play doctor today. And to them, if they leave with a smile and a sense that they've succeeded, we've done our job, because that meant that they had fun and they were able to tolerate even the challenges I put them through. And trust me, I challenge these kids. They may come in pinging off the wall from the weather changes or from things that have been happening at school or being out of routine. And if they can leave and go, you know, I've seen Jamie come in just going,
screaming and kicking on the floor.
and all of a sudden he goes, "Oh, wait, we're going back there, okay." And he goes back and we have a great day, you know. It's like, this is cool. So, you know, the response is incredible watching the kids. In one of my books, and y'all know that I have my books set out in my clinic so that parents can look at them while they're watching the kids playing, and you're welcome to borrow them as long as you return them. You know, unfortunately, some of mine have disappeared, but if they find a better path and then eventually make it back, hopefully they will, like Out of Sync Child, it'll show up again. But this one is one that I always set out too, and it says, "Play with me. I tried to teach my child from books. He only gave me puzzled looks. I tried to teach my child with words. They passed him by, oft unheard. Despairingly I turned aside. How shall I teach this child, I cried. Into my hand he put the key. Come, he said, play with me." And isn't that the truth? I mean, the kids are not gonna sit there and say, "I gotta do the schoolwork, I gotta do this, I gotta work. You know, but if you say, "Well, let's go play," and while you're at it, if you happen to learn, you know, you'll see when the kids are swinging and they're picking up colored things. If they're kids that have trouble with feeding issues, we're talking well, what food do you eat that's that color as they're putting it in a bin? You know, so we're making food a subject that is no longer taboo to them. It doesn't terrify them to think that food can be fun. You know, you'll see us playing with messes in the clinic. And most of you, you know, it's like we made flubber. And I love watching the parents, you know, when the kids come out with this stuff and they're going, oh. And so, you know, just think of what these kids come through, from the tactile sensory kids that go, I'm not going to touch anything. And then, you know, they walk out playing with this saying, this is cool, but I want to see how many of y'all actually touch it. I had one mom that the kid is in there for feeding issues. And I kind of suspected that it was going to be somewhat difficult when I was having them playing with their peas and carrots and smushing them. And the mom and the aunt both gagged and backed all the way across the clinic. It's like, well, this may be a little tough. Mom, you want to be treated too? So it was ironic that some of the question was about the journey to legitimacy. I can't even say it today. And what research studies are going on? It's finally almost there for us. They are considering putting it in the DSM-5. So lots and lots of research in the last 2 to 3 years. It's been incredible, the amounts. One of the things I set out over there just from the SPD Foundation, which is Sensory Processing Disorder Foundation, is just pages of little blurbs about what the current research is and what they're using to get it in the diagnostic code. So there is a huge step forward in this, which means it will be much easier to cover through insurance, thank God, because that's been a long step for everybody. You know, how many times have people just gotten nothing because they had to walk away, or you guys do everything down to the last penny just trying to get some sort of help for your kids. So it is coming. I wanted to touch on that we always know the sensory that everybody thinks of, you know, hear, the sight, the hearing, smell, taste, and touch. But what about vestibular and proprioceptive too? Those are two very essential forms that quite often the kids don't have, well, all the time, they don't have one layer of problem. It's one on top of the other. And it's never that one thing set them off. And that's the problem. We're always looking, well, what was it set them off? It's not going to be the one thing. It's the last thing that set them off. So where you might fix that and block it from them for this time, but next time something else sets them off. You know, if you get up in the morning, okay, yeah, you get up in the morning, mom's going, wake up, get out of bed, come on, hurry, hurry, we're late for school already, come on, come on, come on. And then you're having to be, you know, you're going up light breakfast, you're eating breakfast, and the wind's blowing, and it doesn't feel right on you, and there's just all this stuff going on. So then mom stops and goes, wait a minute, somebody was showing me that I need to take down a layer. So maybe you turn some of the noise down, but there's still a layer of noise. And then you hear, oh wait, there's something wrong, and my clothes don't feel right today. And now, you know what, I just got up on the wrong side of the bed. And so then you start trying to settle it down. And you kind of go, oh, okay, then I can start again. And I actually had one kid come in one day that she was having a horrible morning. And I wasn't getting anywhere with her. And I finally said, you know what, just lay down and go back to bed. I think you need to get up on the other side. And to my amazement, she laid down, pretended to sleep, and she said, okay, wake up. And she got up and got up on the other side of me, rolling over, and proceeded to play beautifully. Why didn't I think of this 5 minutes ago? But the teach us what they need. She just needed to reframe her reference that day. You know, she had gotten so caught up on this noise going